So you might have seen this recently. A scene in a propaganda film went totally viral. It showed a Hindu girl being forced to eat beef, and wow, did it spark a massive debate online. But here's the thing. What if that whole debate is built on an idea that's, well, not quite right?
You know, there's this belief that a lot of us, both inside and outside of India, just kind of take for granted that real Hindus are pure vegetarians. It feels like it's just woven into the very fabric of the religion, right?
But is that really the whole story? Let's, forget the headlines for a second and just ask a simple question based on data. How many Hindus actually eat meat? Go on, take a guess. What do you think? Maybe 20%? 30%?
Well, according to the Pew Research Center, the actual number is a pretty staggering 56%.
Yeah, you heard that right. More than half of all Hindus in India are non-vegetarian. Now, that number just completely flips the common narrative on its head. So, okay, let's dive into this. How is this possible? And where did this whole idea of pure vegetarianism even come from in the first place?
To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back, way back. We have to look at the sacred texts themselves, because that's where you find these fascinating contradictions hiding in plain sight.
So, on the one hand, you open up the Mahabharata and you find some really powerful arguments for vegetarianism. The wise Bhishma tells King Yudhishthira, "He who abstains from any kind of meat for his whole life attains a high and vast place in heaven." I mean, that sounds pretty clear-cut, doesn't it?
But then, in that exact same conversation, things start to get a whole lot more complicated. Bhishma, the very same person, quoting an ancient lawgiver, says, "Meat that has been sanctified with mantras is pure." Wait, what? This direct contradiction from the same guy in the same chapter tells us that the reality was never, ever black and white. And this isn't just some isolated quote, not at all. The Vyasa Samhita actually says Brahmins should eat sanctified meat during certain duties. The Manusmriti allows it. The Ramayana talks about Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita eating meat while they were in exile. And get this, in the Mahabharata, the Pandava brothers ate so much deer meat that the deer population in the forest actually started to drop.
And look, this isn't just dusty old history, you guys. It's happening right now. Think about Bengali Brahmins, for whom fish is a massive part of their culture, or the Munyandi Swami Temple in Tamil Nadu, which is famous for its temple offering of, wait for it, mutton biryani. The practice is alive and well.
So this begs a huge question, right? If meat eating was so common in the scriptures and in tradition, where did this powerful idea of pure vegetarianism come from? What caused the big shift?
Well, things really started to change around the 5th century BC, with the rise of some new and really influential philosophies. Mahavira Jain pushed for strict nonviolence, or ahimsa. Gautama Buddha also preached compassion for all living beings. And as Jainism and Buddhism grew more popular, many Hindus, especially in the Brahmin and merchant classes, started to adopt vegetarianism themselves, partly to claim a similar moral high ground.
And this is absolutely crucial. Suddenly, what you ate wasn't just about belief anymore. It became a powerful way to build a social hierarchy. Vegetarianism got linked with purity, with moral authority, and frankly, with economic privilege. And meat eating, which used to be common, was now seen as impure and associated with lower castes, for whom it was often just an economic necessity.
You don't have to take my word for it. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of the main architects of India's constitution, broke it down perfectly. He wrote that food rules created these two big dividing lines, and that the second one, between people who eat beef and people who don't, is the one which has led to the creation of untouchables.
And that deep historical link between food, caste, and power, it didn't just disappear. You can see its ghost everywhere in modern India, in the data, and definitely in its politics.
Just look at the numbers today. It's right there in black and white. Survey after survey shows that non-vegetarianism is way more common among scheduled castes, tribes, and other backward classes. We're talking around 60%. That's a lot higher than in the general category, and it confirms the exact historical patterns Dr. Ambedkar was talking about. And it's not just about caste. Geography is a huge deal too. In coastal states like Kerala and West Bengal, where fish is everywhere, almost everybody's non-vegetarian. I mean 97 to 98%. But then you go to a landlocked state up north, like Rajasthan, and that number plummets to just 37%.
And this is where it gets really political. You can see how this whole food thing is used to win votes.
In North India, the ruling party, the BJP, often frames eating beef as this terrible sin that has to be banned. But you go down to Kerala, and a candidate from the very same party promises voters they'll ensure good quality beef. Then, in the Northeast, they promise they won't impose any ban at all. It's the same issue, just framed in totally different ways to get votes.
Okay, so we've gone through the scriptures, the history, the data, and the politics. So what is the real picture here? What's actually going on?
The real picture is one of incredible, almost mind-boggling diversity. On one extreme end of the spectrum, you've got Aghori sadhus, who, as part of their rituals, are known to consume even human flesh. And on the complete opposite end, you have someone like Sudha Murthy, who calls herself a pure vegetarian and carries her own spoons when she travels, so she doesn't accidentally touch meat. Both of these exist under the giant umbrella of Hinduism.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? The big takeaway is this. What ends up on our plate is never, ever about just one thing. It's shaped by this really complex mix of geography, of economics, of caste, cultural heritage, politics, and yes, of course, personal belief.
And let's be super clear here. Choosing to be a vegetarian today for modern reasons, like you care about animal ethics or your health or the environment, that is an incredibly powerful and totally valid personal choice that has nothing to do with ancient rules or dogma. Which brings us to the final question, and this one is for you to think about. Is what you choose to eat a reflection of ancient scripture, a historical caste hierarchy, or is it a reflection of your own modern values? The answer, as you can probably see now, is a lot more complicated than you might think.